Hello everybody, so today we are going to assemble an 8x6 storage shed. It's all metal. Got it off of Walmart's website, and I'll put a link to it in the comments. So we're going to go step by step, put this together. I am working by myself, so we'll see how this all goes. Please refer to the other video. I'll put a link on that as well. I have the floor system all ready to go. Put the rocks, dug it out, built the floor, and again there'll be a link to the other video to show you how to prep for that. So our first step today, we're going to unbox this and lay out our parts and pieces and see what we're working with. All right, so we got the box open and unpacked. Saw the panels. I tried to lay out the pieces the best I could to see. You can see they are stamped with numbers on them. You can see K57-9R, and that corresponds to the instructions, which are right here. So we'll kind of go through that step by step. There's a bag of hardware, that yellow bag I kind of dumped inside the box. That bag was inside that small box over there that also has the gable end angled pieces. It took me a little bit to find it, and I started freaking out a little bit thinking I didn't have it, but it was over there the whole time. They do provide some gloves. Working with metal, metal can be sharp, so you always want to wear some nice gloves. So I'll probably wear those just to kind of keep myself safe. And tool wise, they recommended a drill and then a hand screwdriver. I grabbed some clamps because I am by myself. I might need to clamp some stuff while I'm fastening. So with that said, our first step is going to be to lay out the floor. And if we look at our instructions, over, it tells you what the side pieces are. So we're gonna get that K812-1R, and all those pieces are actually bundled together, and I laid them out right here. So I'm gonna cut the tape on those and kind of lay them into place, and then we'll get it screwed together and get this project moving. All right, so I got my pieces laid out. I did that back corner already just to kind of see how it all comes together. It's pretty simple. So we're gonna come over to this opposite corner, and then we'll do the other two corners. It's pretty simple, just takes a few screws and a couple of these pieces and parts. I did use the screw gun on it. I dumped my screws into this little bucket because I was afraid that bag was gonna rip on me, and definitely don't want that to happen. So let's get in on this corner here. And like I said, it's fairly simple. Just line the pieces. The one has these big holes, has little holes. Big holes go on top, and just kind of line them up like that. You grab a screw with your screw gun here, put it in that hole. Now these, I just started first, that way I had some room to move it around if I need to, and I found I did need to, so good decision there. So I just kind of got them started, and then I went back and put them all the rest of the way in. So you get those two, and then there's these corner pieces. There's 4 of them. You can lay that in there, and then I went in and kind of the same thing. Kind of give it a little push it down, make sure you can see the hole. And I just kind of started it. And I went around and did that for all the holes. That way, like I said, if something needs adjusted, I could adjust it. So we got 2 more put in here. And then 1 more. All right, so now they're all started. So now you can go ahead and put them all the way in. You want to stop once you get some resistance. You don't want to strip these out because a little bit thinner metal. And then we'll have a hole here where we can anchor it on the plate. So you want to do that in all 4 corners, and then on the front and rear side we have to put our channels together, and that's the same basic process. take the one piece here and overlap it and line up your holes. So this one will take 3 holes. There is one here, here, and here. So let's grab our screws, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of start them. That way if I need to move them around at all, I can. And I am wearing the gloves that came with it. It's actually not too bad, and it's a little chilly here. It's end of October in Ohio, so it gets a little chilly. So on this one, you need to push down a little bit. Lost my screw. And line that up. And this one, put all the way in, and we'll tighten it. So that is fastened now. So I still need to just do that corner and that corner, and then our floor will be done. All right, so our base is in. I did check it for squareness, meaning that I measured from corner to corner on 2 sides to make sure that we're all square. I did not fasten it down to the floor yet. I was gonna wait and do that at the very end when it's all assembled, just to, in case it's a little bit different size of my platform or something, I can move it around. So our next step is these shed side panels. So I'm going to pull those parts out of the package here, and it looks like it's the 4 corners basically. And so we'll get those out, and we'll start putting those together. All right, so for our corner pieces here, our side panels, I put one in over there just to give it a test go. Pretty easy. You just set it down, and there you put the first 3 screws in. You don't put that 4th screw in. We'll do that when we install the actual finished panel on the end. So grab my screws. Here I get my drill. All right, so I'm going to grab that panel, and they seem to be the same up or down. There's not a top or a bottom, and then they face toward the short side. So we'll put it on there like this, so that our corner here wraps around and goes along the long edge. Okay, and then you put it in there, you can see you can line up your screws. So we'll grab a screw, kind of put it on the end of our gun here. If we're careful, it won't pop off. Line that up, and screw it in. With 2 people, it'd be easier to have somebody on the back side there holding it to make sure it doesn't go. But after you get one in, it's actually not too bad. So you can hold it with one side, line up your holes, home, and we have one more. So those are in. So that's 2 of the panels. I'm going to go ahead and do those other 2 corners, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so our next step, after we get all those panels on, is to put the top rails all the way around. So on each of the short sides, that's where we're going to start. If you grab your K58-3, you can see it has a profile to it. You want your short side to be the side on the outside. All right, this is where it says 2 people are needed, but I'm a 1 person. So this piece sits on the inside. That's why they want you to have 2, so someone can hold this piece while the other one's screwing it in. So what I'm gonna do, since I'm by myself, is just kind of overlap it like that and line up my holes and put a screw in. So I'm gonna rest that there for a second. I'm grabbing a screw, and I'm going to take this, put it on the other side where it's supposed to go, line up one of the holes, and put my screw in. Well, try that again. I kind of missed it. Push the hole. So we're going to line up that hole. Try this again. is right there now. I see it. And we're going to put that screw in. So then let's come to the other side here and basically do the same thing. We're going to hold that, line up our screw hole, and now I can go back in. Again, you don't do this last hole, we're just doing the first 3. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in, and then we'll move around to the long side. Alright, so I got the 2 side pieces in, and I also already did the back piece. So now we're going to move around and do the front piece that'll go from that side to this side. So I'm going to adjust the camera down here real quick. And what we need to do is put these 2 pieces together. And so you want to make sure that you're facing the same way. So all the little screw holes need to be facing out, or at least facing the same way. And then spin it. There we go. So there's 5 holes, 1 big one, 4 small ones, and this one's the opposite. And you basically, we're just going to line these up, and then we need to put 4 screws in here. We don't do anything with that center one. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll get this piece into place. With those 4 bolts in, you also need to grab 2 of these angle brackets that are going to go up in here, which is what holds everything together. So I'm going to get this stuff kind of prepped, and then we'll show you how to put those in. All right, so I kind of set it into place. This will actually go on the outside, but I just have it sitting there because I'm by myself and don't have anyone to hold it for me right now. But in that corner, first thing I want to do is put this bracket on the side piece. So we're going to line up those holes in here. That one, we'll angle that one down. And let's put that one in. All right, and then we have that part. So now we need to put it onto this piece. So to do that though, we want to make sure that we're on the inside with the bracket and this metal. This metal goes on the outside. So you can kind of hold it into place. I'm going to line up one of the holes. Screw it in, and then you can kind of position it for the other hole and put that one in. And then that is our corner brackets in place. So now we'll go through, I'm not going to video doing that one because you just saw what I did, but I'm going to put that piece on, and then we'll move on to our next step. All right, so we got all those rails in, so now we're ready to cover the rest of the walls. So you grab the W5 panels, make sure you grab the right one. Okay, and then if you look, one edge is flat and the other one has this little ridge bump in here. Well, this ridge bump goes underneath. So the one with the ridge, we can take it and tuck it underneath this one. Okay, then you put it in place, and then we're going to screw it in. So on these, I would recommend starting on the one side and work your way over. We'll leave this one out for that next panel to go into. So we're going to start with this first one.
our way down. Again, we got last one open. Now we're going to grab our next panel. And do the same thing. Tuck it under. Put it under. Drop into place. And starting on the one side, work our way over. And we go ahead and put one in this last hole.
All right, so then I'm going to put the screws along the bottom. I'll go around to the other side, and then we'll work on that long side. All right, so I got my two side panels on. So I'm going to do this back panel now, and it's going to go the same way, right? I'm just going to start on my left and work my way over. If anything comes up that you need to be aware of, I will put that in the, I'll do a video right after this. All right, so I got all the panels up on the front, or on the rear and the two sides. I still have to do the front. Before I do, there was one other thing I want to show you, is that you're supposed to put the bolt and nut through these and line them up. My issue being I'm by myself, I'm not 100% sure I'll be able to do that, but what I'm going to try to do is rough them in and have them ready. And so if I'm going to go around to each one, find that hole, put that through, kind of feed it through the other side, and I think the tension of the metal will keep it in place, where if I come around to this side, it's right here that I can kind of get it started on there. If I can get them started, not going to be perfect, but they're in place. And then once I get some help, I can have someone stand on the outside, hold it while I screw them in. So I'm going to go around and do that. They're halfway through on every panel, as you can see. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll finish up the two front panels here. All right, with all the panels on, the next thing to put on is the UA panels. You kind of follow along in your directions. We have all the panels done. Hopefully you can see this. And so now we have these UA panels that are verticals. They go here and on the other side. So that if you have any bends in here, you might want to straighten those out. You can use you know, a wrench or anything. It's aluminum, so it bends out pretty easy. Just try to be careful. That way then that panel comes in, you don't have anything weird going on. Alright, so the UA panel, this piece here, the angled side goes out, and basically you can kind of line it up here, and then on the bottom it goes over the rail. You can see there's a notch in here. It kind of goes over the rail, and you kind of go back under it, and you slide it up, and you got to tuck your siding underneath it. So that's where you want, that's why I straighten that out, so that those two pieces come together. And when you get them in there, there's it's going to be 4 screws and 1 bolt. So for the screws, there's 2 at the top. So make sure you're going through the siding. You know, the holes should all line up. Put that one in. Come around the back side here, same thing. Line up your holes. That, and then there's 2 same ones on the bottom. Again, make sure everything's lined up and they're tight. I want them having trouble seeing it. I think this piece here was bent in, so it wasn't sitting flat. So I'm gonna bend that out. This one. Yeah, now it's sitting a lot better. So let's see, let's try this again. There we go, now we fit. That you can put the bolt in. Let's get a closer look at that. So there's our bolt hole. So put our bolt through. You'll hold that up, make sure that's coming through. And with that in, come around to this side. You can see the bolt sticking out there. Just grab a nut and put that on. Once you get it all hand tight, the little spanner tool thing does come in with a little wrench side that you can then, you might have to hold the other side with a screwdriver. Or you could use your drill, really. So if I put this on here and hold it, makes it nice and tight, and we're good. So that is our two side pieces. So that one's on. I already put that one on, and then now we can move on to our next one. All right, so our next step is to put the gable end panels on, and that's a K57. There's a left and a right, and they will go on just like this. Well, or just like this. So we'll start with this side, and the holes line up with those bolts right there, which is nice. Let's see if we can get a little tighter shot. And there's 3 screws that we're going to put in on this step. So with these, though, you do also want to add in one of those little white washers, according to the instructions there. So you can get that lined up, and then we're going to screw it in place. And then there's 2 others we're going to go ahead and put on, and then we'll grab that other panel and we'll put that on as well. All right, so I got the gable end panel on. So now there's 4 brackets we're going to put on, and they're labeled C4, C3, C3, C4. So the C4 ones are a little smaller and shorter, and that is going to go right here, and then you screw it from the other side into here. So to do that, again, easier with 2 people, but one man show today. So it's going to come in from the side here. Grab a different piece that's sitting here, line up that hole, and screw that in. And then same thing from the other side. So same thing from the other side. I'm just gonna kind of lean over so I can see. Put that in. Get that tight. So there's one here, and I'm gonna put the other one over on that other side. All right, so once you have those C4 shorter pieces in, we have the center piece to put on. Those go on using a bolt and a nut. So you want to get those ready, and basically it just kind of comes on one on each side like this. Then you can take your bolt, you're going through both of them, line them up. Slide that one on. And then get your nut started. Get that about hand tight. And then do your other one. Same thing, thread it through. And then screw your nut on. Then you want to tighten them up. And again, using the tool they gave for the nut, you can put that on. And then come back with your drill and tighten it up, just like that. And with that, the gable ends are on, and we can move on. All right, so now we're gonna put on our crossbars that go across, right? 58-6, the C channel side goes out, and it's gonna go on the outside here, but it's gonna be up here. Now, I guess I'm doing it by myself. What I did on the other side is I took a clamp, put it up, basically where it's gonna be, and I just kind of loosely clamped it so that it held. And then we can go to our other side here. This one takes 2 screws. So now I can hold this up into place, pull this over, line it up, put our screws in. And then come over to the other side. We'll pop our clamp off. Let that rest down there. All right, so that's the 2 outside bars. Now we just have this inside middle bar that we're gonna put together. All right, so for the center one, it takes 2 of them, and they kind of come together, and they're gonna end up like this. Now you do want to make sure these holes are facing up. Same thing with these side bars. If you didn't do that, please go back and look, because that'll need done. And so I'm just gonna set these in here as easy as I can. And again, with the second person, I don't want to keep harping on that. This would be a lot easier, but it's just me, so that's all right. We'll still get it done. That's it. So what I'm gonna do is kind of lift this side so that it's in place, and I'll drop my clamp. All right, so we're gonna lift this side into place. Kind of put it together like that. And clamp it shut. It really just needed to be held there. And then we can go to the other side here and grab a bolt and a nut. And then we'll lift this one into place. Pull that, line it all up. And then we'll get the nut on there. All right, so then, since I got that side kind of secure, go to this other side. And we'll do the same thing with these holes. Get everything lined up. All right, with that on, we take that off. And so now there's going to be 2 bolts here, one bottom top, and then there's one here, there, one over here, and then 2 over here. So I'm going to get those all in, and then this crossbar will be done. All right, so we're going to put on the roof panels, and the roof panels, there's a left, 2 middles, and a right. And what you do is you need to overhang it, and you can see there's some holes there. So you overhang it where those holes line up, and you line up these other ones. And you use a screw with one of the little plastic rubber washers on it. We're going to put that first one in place. That way it'll keep it from sliding off, because I was having trouble doing that. I'll keep this one off because the middle one will take care of that. And we'll just work our way over. And we'll get all those screwed.
We're gonna wait and do the bottom until we get all the other ones on. These are the other panels. They're set here. that's done, we'll go across the bottom here and get all these. That's done, and then we'll move on to the other side.
All right, so we got one side done. We'll go ahead and do the other side and move forward. All right, now with our roof hole on, our next step is to install some trim around it. So the first one we put on are these eave ends, or the rake end. And to do that, this piece has two holes in it that line up with the holes on the roof sheathing itself. So you can hold it there. Line up that hole, kind of get a screw started. And it takes two, one at the bottom, and then one up here at the top. So I'm going to go around, put those on all four edges, and then we'll move on to the eave end here, and we'll show you how to do that. All right, so we're moving on to this eave, and there's two pieces to it. There's a left and a right. yeah, you want to make sure, kind of hold them up here and make sure you grab the right ones or have them in the right spot. These do take the screws with the washers attached to them. I kind of found it easier to do like 3 or 4 screws at a time. Put the little washers on them. That way they're there and they're ready when you can grab. So if you set them into place, you can see if the holes are lining up, which they are for me. Then this one overlaps, and there's these 2 ones here in the middle overlap. So I'm going to put those on first because that'll hold all my pieces together. So kind of get this one into position. And with that one on there, you can kind of slide it a little bit if you need to. Mine's actually looking pretty good.
Loosen it just a little bit. This one needs to come this way a little bit. So if you loosen it, you can shift it. There we go. That looks a lot better. So put these screws in. Every once in a while I get one that doesn't quite want to go. I don't know why. I went perfectly into that one. But I bet if I put this one together. Yeah, right in, no problem. Now there's also these caps. So the little cap.
Yeah, so you need a washer on. That cap is going to go on the spar end. Right like that. And position our screw. And when you're in that hole, you just tighten it down and you are good to go. Alright, so next thing we have to do is put our ridge in. So to do the ridge, we have to assemble it first. And to do that, it comes with 2 pieces. You just line up your holes. Find it easier to hold on one side. Line it up, screw and washer, and you can screw them in. Alright, our ridge is fastened. We're going to set it up into place and show you how to fasten it down. Alright, with the ridge up in place, basically you scrunch it down and you can see where the holes are. And so it also takes this white piece that slips over it. You have that. And you kind of line up the holes and screw it down. And so same thing on this side. It does take a little bit of finagling to find the hole because you know, things are bent or overlapping, or something was just slightly off somewhere. It kind of boogers it up. So once you find it though, get it and screw it in, and all set. So that said, that is all the shed. We just have the door to do. So I'm gonna take a quick break here, get something to eat, and then we'll get that door going. All right, so our next step is to start building the doors. Okay, so the first one was to take a W5K panel and you bolt it onto the W2 panel. So it takes 2 bolts. There's one there and there's one over there. And so I got those bolted together. And then after that, we start building and assembling the rails. And on that, we have to kind of follow some steps here. So it has multiple pieces to it. There's basically all four sides. And then some angled pieces to help hold it all together. So like these angled pieces, like this, that, I believe. Then you have these pieces here, so you can see this has the hole cut out. So it's gonna go on the side of the hole, obviously. Kind of add in there. We have the one for the other side.
And we have a top and bottom that are the same. That then. The big hole always goes on top. You kind of have to turn over. Something like that. Alright, so then, right here, goes in, you gotta get those line up, and stick that underneath. Let me check something. Alright, so I screwed up by putting the bolts in. I'm sure that's true, maybe I didn't. So, it does look like though, this side goes up, so slide that under, line up that hole, and push down on it a little bit to make sure it lines up. Alright, I did good. So we're good there. And then over here, we have something similar. Where this, that, and these two need to line up underneath this one. So I'm going through the rail and then these two pieces. Alright, and we just have that last one down there to put in. Alright, so I have this backwards. Alright, so put your rail together. Make sure you line up that hole with the piece, because that's going to be a bolt layer. So, big hole and a little hole. Slide that in. Make sure it all lines up. And screw it down. Over here. Same thing, make sure that bolt lines up. This is all together. Down there, so yeah, I think we're set. Those are in. Do that. One more here. got one more put in here. And then we have bolts to put in there and up there. That part is done, and now we can build the other one.
All right, so the doors are built. So now we just have the hardware, and then we'll be done. So you have two doors, a left and a right. The one without the hole is left. The one with the hole is on the right. So on door left, we have these little spring-loaded clamps to keep that door shut. So I'm gonna put those on first. And those just take two screws that you put right in there.
Now the plate goes to the outside. So just grab a couple screws. And you have the pre-drill holes. Pop those in. And same thing on the bottom. So those are in, and then we have the hinges. It comes with a bag of hinges with some other screws in it.
With the four hinges. And the hinge screws. Alright, so on those, you line up the inner plate. And make sure, like, there's a curved any side, like that the screw head will go into. That is the side you want your spacing out. So line those holes up. Once the hinges are on, you could mount your door. So to do that, want everything to be ready. Got some screws ready. I always find it's easier to put one in the hinge and then line it up. Turn it on, and then do one on the bottom, line it all up, and then we'll do the rest. Goes in, nice and secure. So same thing on this side. We get those hinges on, and then we'll get the lock on, and then we'll be done with the job. All right, the last thing we have is the locking mechanism. So for that, comes with this bolt here and this. Just slide that in. The bolt over, kind of a little bit of a pain. It actually might be easier with this on here. I'll put that back on.
Okay. Now, that whole thing's turning against me.
Now it's locked. So key, turn it 180 degrees and it'll turn. All right, so now we're good. I just didn't have that tight enough. So with that, let's give it a test go. Lock it. Yeah, lock. Not coming out. So shed is basically done. There are these little black tabs that you go around and you can put them on the edge of the bolts to keep things from tearing. I still have to go through and do the bolts between the panels for when I have some help. And then I do want to fasten it down with some screws in the corners to keep it from lifting and moving around on me. So other than those two items, I am done. Project took about 4.5 hours to complete by myself while filming and whatnot, but I'm happy with how it came out. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns on this 8x6 shed, metal shed, please leave them in the comments below. Hit like, subscribe, and all that, and we will talk to you soon.